Let's do some more of these super chats here. This is Saka absent when Arsenal beat City. Matters today, lol. It's true.
He's out.
Sorry?
Madison's out injured.
No, that's what he's saying. He was saying Saka missed the game that City when you beat City. And then Madders missed it. Basically saying City lost, like, dropped points to the North London teams when their best creators have been out. That's what he means. That felt almost on purpose from the refs. Shocking. Yeah, I don't know if it was on purpose, but it looked it. Told you about VAR earlier. Can we trust VAR? My point was proven earlier. Well, VAR didn't make any mistakes today. The ref on the field did. And because he blew his whistle, there's no protocol to... What can you do from that point? You can't, like, create that situation again. I can't wait for December 23rd, Liverpool versus Arsenal. Yeah, that game is massive now after today. Rakesh says, wow, the hatred is soothing for a change, is what he says here. Terry, why isn't your caption Man City robbed? I told you why earlier, cool guy, because Man City fans tell me they don't want to talk about refereeing decisions. They just want to focus on the game. I think you were robbed, though. But there we go, brother. Thank you for the super chat, my G. LLL draw, the title challenges on. Andy Nguyen, who is a Liverpool fan, says, as a Tottenham Spurs fan, Chelsea fan, here Man City were robbers. The second time a foul, average play referees is awful. I kind of get what you're saying there. Thank you, Andy. Would want the same table position in May? Come on, you gooners. Yeah, I bet you would. Arsenal hard-fought wins don't seem so bad anymore. Of course they don't. It was all nonsense, that. City lost to Arsenal, 4-4 with Chelsea, 1-1 with Liverpool, 3-3 with Spurs. I wonder, some of us predicted a draw, and that's coming from an Arsenal fan. Something's cooking, is what Sky King says. Fair play to whoever scouted Vicario. Yeah, Vicario is a proper goalkeeper, isn't he? Like, he's so good.
Signing in the summer, probably.
Yeah, if Maddison didn't get injured, Vicario's definitely up there for sure.
Them, I'm talking about. Not
yeah. I mean, he's one of the best signings of the summer, I think, for any team. And, you know, sometimes when fans say, oh, we need a new goalie, but go, who would you sign? I don't know. I'm not a scout, but players like Vicario are out there in all positions that are top quality that have just not been discovered yet or given a chance.
Yeah. You see the difference, right, between Vicario and Lloris, yeah? Lloris is sick and he used to make most of his dives look amazing and theatrical, yeah? But Vicario, I can trust on the ball, whereas Lloris, I could never trust him on the ball.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't play out the back. You couldn't do what you're doing now with Lloris. No, I agree.
On the ball.
This here says, as an Arsenal fan, I'm worried about Pep, that Pep will now go back to the drawing board and City will start dominating again, just like last season. I don't think it's something worth worrying about, mate. It can happen. Just enjoy the games and relax right now. We're only 14 games in. I'm waiting for Hassam to come on and say, I told you so. He did get it spot on, to be fair. Why are we talking about a title at the start of December? Also, whenever City loses to Spurs, they usually go on a mad run. So let's calm down.
But City don't lose to Spurs at home. City don't lose to Spurs at home. They usually come back and find a way at home. I know 2 years ago they did, but like, let's not do this whole thing. I think the whole City fan base is asleep and they don't realize what's happening in front of them at this moment in time. They have a possibility where they could drop a lot of points early in this campaign and then having to play catch up and realize that, you know what, similar issues that are happening early in the campaign might happen to them later in the season, and they just don't have the squad depth and the quality that they had before. They have some young players that are coming through like Gavardio, Doku, and Julian Alvarez. But are they the same game changers as a Riyad Mahrez, as a Gundogan, who have done it week in, week out in the Premier League? I don't think so.
This here says Sheikh's payments to the referee haven't cleared. Listen,
I was actually going to say that City. The City owner, yeah, he tried bringing the briefcase into the room for my man, but you know what I mean. He didn't say yes this time. I see them crying about.
Yeah, look, someone tried saying the other day City never have things go against them, and I was like, I didn't remember very many, but in the last couple of weeks they have. I thought their second goal against Liverpool should have stood based on them allowing the goal that Newcastle scored against Arsenal, and they were hard done by today. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. And if it was the other way around. Harry, you especially would be absolutely. Imagine that Son's running through one-on-one, and then he brings it back. You get crazy over that. I want to ask you, Spurs boys, before the end of the show. Who was your standout player today, Reece? Who is it you think walks away with your man of the match?
For me, it's quite obvious. I think it's Kulusevski. I think he's been the best player for for a good 3 or 4 weeks. While all these players have been out injured since Chelsea, Kulusevski's really stepped up. Like he's scoring big goals, he's getting assists. Just the way you can never get the ball off him. He's just so good, and he's just undroppable for me. But yeah, I think Kulusevski.
I think close mention Lo Celso as well. I think the last couple of games he's kind of shown that, you know, he never really got a fair crack on the first Mourinho. I think Mourinho, because he was having good games before Mourinho, but Mourinho just for some reason just didn't like him, didn't fancy him, and he's kind of
against City under Mourinho. He scored against City under Mourinho as well.
Maybe.
In lockdown.
So yeah, and then you know that seemed to kind of domino into the other managers that came in. I've always wanted Lo Celso to get a good, you know, fair crack at us, and I think he's good enough to be, you know, like under Madders, like an alternative to Maddison. But we definitely, yeah, I think it's a close call between Kulusevski and Lo Celso for me.
Fair enough. And how about yourself, Harry?
Simon Hooper, baby. Yeah. City fans try more. Lo Celso, my guy. Do you not remember when Kate was chatting about Lo Celso? Everyone was like, oh my days. I have been waiting this whole time. Lo Celso.
I heard my name, you see. That's what it was. I heard my name and I thought I better come in. What was you saying then?
I want to talk about Lo Celso. I was waiting last weekend, but then we lost. I was thinking, I can't wait to say this. Talking about my boy. Hey, Kate, what have you got to say for yourself? You're chatting about him 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I said, believe in him. I said, give him a chance. Believe in him.
He was crap the first half.
But the second half, he was better, no? So that's irrelevant.
Yeah, oh, my God. Harry, do you know what? You've learned nothing, have you? You've learned nothing in these first few weeks. You're getting overexcited again.
No, I'm not.
Celso is a bang average player who would never, ever get anywhere near our team if we had our first team fit.
I think he deserves a chance. I think he deserves.
We haven't got a choice but to play him.
2 goals in 2 games. The guy's playing his heart out, and he's really improved. Obviously, since Joe's era, it's completely different now. I just wanted to say that. I'm not like coming for you on that, and I'm just saying.
It's interesting though. It's interesting that I think Bissouma's dropped again a little bit. Like he had such obviously when both he had Pape Matar and Madders in the team. He was, you know, we were saying that's the Bissouma that we've always wanted. But I must admit, since the injuries and the suspensions, I think Bissouma's sort of performances have dropped as well. So
Massively.
I think he needs certain types of players around him. I think he's
100%. My husband
to really get the best out of him.
Maddison and Bissouma's partnership is brilliant, and I think Biss feeds on that, and I think he's missing that. But you know what? I thought it was a good game, exciting game, and yeah, happy with the point.
So much positivity from the Terrace
unexpected
today. Alan being happy, Kate being... I don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah, I'm always happy. I just don't ever think we're going to win the league like you do.
I'm not saying that
happy.
now.
I'm happy when we're winning. But
top 4?
Top 4 is possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. We just have to see how we go. But, I mean, I think Postecoglou deserves a massive amount of credit. Terry was calling us to change his tactics. Terry, I'm looking at you. I'm looking at you. Do you know what? He stands by his philosophy, and sometimes he will get found out, but he just wants to play that way.
So, and do you know what it is? Okay, like he did change though for me, and what I mean by that is I've said all along his style of play doesn't need to change. It's game management, and in the first half, you guys, I mean, you should have gone in at halftime, in my opinion, 3-4, maybe even 5-1 down.
Yeah.
Second half, you brought in Højbjerg, and it started a bit funny because you had that chance you conceded straight away. But then you were just more measured in the way you played. And I think having that extra body in the midfield just meant you were able to protect your back line a little bit more. And then you just became more of a threat on that kind of with the counter press and then attacking them. And that's what I think he's got to learn, is that sometimes you can play an attacking style of football, but you need to do it with different players because you need to be able to absorb the attack of the opponents. And I think I watched him today. It's a cliche, but a game of 2 halves. And the second half, if you'd have started with that team and played like that from the first whistle, I think you'd have won. I think you'd have won the game. I really do think. And yes, I get a part of it today was City looked a bit off, and I get that in the second half it was a bit flat. But part of that was because you guys made it harder for them. I didn't think they could break through you as easy in that second half, where in the first half they did. But listen, he's got a philosophy. He should definitely stick to it. I just think he's got to adjust game management depending on, for instance, you get 2 players sent off. Don't play on the halfway line. Look what Chelsea did today against Brighton, a very good team. But listen, I think you've got a very serious manager there. I think you've got a manager that can make you a brilliant team if he's backed by your board. And Kate, me and you agree on that massively. He's got to be backed. If he does, what a team you may end up having.
But it's got to be the players that he identifies, Terry. I think this is where we've gone wrong in recent years as well. It's not that Levy hasn't spent money, because they have bought players, but they haven't bought the kind of players. It seems like they haven't bought the sort of players that the managers want.
Let me throw this at you. I think you've bought players in the last three years who fit a Poch, who fit a Postecoglou. I think you were buying players that didn't fit the negative pragmatist that you had at your club. Exactly. That's why you've seen Basuma come alive. Sarr looks, he played a few games last year, looks better. If Maddison was playing for Antonio Conte, you think he'd be doing what he's doing now. Why has Son come alive again? Why has Kulusevski come alive again? I actually think if you guys keep buying the profiles that you have done, maybe not Eric Dyer's, we'll leave that one out. But if you keep buying a lot of the same play, even when you look at like Emerson Royale for you now, Porro for you now compared to last year, for me, watching as an outsider, they look like exponentially better football players. Yeah. So I think you have been buying the right profiles, but for the wrong manager. You now have the right manager for what you've been building, and that's the problem with my club. We buy all these players, and we always bring the manager in that don't suit them.
Yeah. What gives me hope is that like Van de Ven and Maddison definitely, it seems like Ange definitely had a say in that, like because. Maddison's always in interviews, he always mentions the call that he had with Ange, and he said whether you come to us or not, you're going to see a completely different Tottenham this year than you have done in the last few years. So I do believe that. I think that's what gives me hope. I think plays like Maddison, I think he did have a say, and had he not signed off on it, we probably wouldn't have signed those players. And hopefully, fingers crossed, long may that continue.
I hear you on that. Terry, we are playing United away on week 37. Considering we have a history of winning the title at rivals' grounds, what would the odds be on it? I won't be covering that game. As much as people think I'm an Arsenal fan, I won't be covering it. I'll be going away. Do you know what I mean? I ain't doing that. Pep throwing shade at Arteta now over refs. I haven't seen it. Has he? What's he said? He's a bad... I'm happy.
He's a bad loser, isn't he?
Oh, he's a terrible loser. Even though he didn't lose today, but he's terrible. Let's see if I can find the video. I've seen his face pop up. What's he said? Let me go to videos here. Come on, let it be funny. Please let it be funny. Right, let's listen.
Next question. I will not do a major Arteta comment. So
they are. They asked him about the referee. He's not throwing shade. He was asked a question. His thoughts on the Jack Grealish, the referee thing. And he says, no comment. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not going to give an answer like Mikel Arteta. Essentially saying I'm not going to do something that's probably going to lead to me getting... I don't think that's throwing shade at Arteta, to be fair.
I don't either.
Sarr covers for Basuma. It's not Basuma's preferred position, hence why the drop-off. Yeah, teamwork. I don't think Spurs will make the top 4. Villa will. Maybe. Look, it's going to be a tough race, but Spurs... Look, they stopped the rot today. Go and beat West Ham. Go and get a positive result against Newcastle, and I think people will start changing their minds. Spurs 6th, Newcastle 4th, Villa 5th. I mean, it still won't be a bad first season for Spurs, but it's going to be an interesting prediction.